Hi, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with Kim. I am your host, Kim Bassett, and we are live. I am so excited today. It is time in our lives when we get to figure out what we're made of. And today's guest is a little different than what you thought who it was going to be. Tina is sick today, but I have the most beautiful friend who has been willing to come on at the last minute. Her name is Renate Prandl, and she is coming to us from Singapore. It is 5 o'clock in the morning there, and she is just a doll. I put together a real quick sizzle reel. We do this in real time, so my voice is not dubbed over. I'm going to try. I don't know how this is going to work. It could be loud, but I told you this is going to be an experience for all of us. But I wanted you to see some beautiful things about her because she's not one that's going to toot her own horn, so to speak. But man, am I ever impressed with my friend. Renate. Growing up in Austria, I don't think Renate ever thought she would be able to be a best-selling author and work with some of the mentors that she has in her life. She is an amazing cook. She's going to help us maybe with some recipes later on. She has had amazing mentors, and we met through this great man, Bill Bauer. And I look at how great she looks on the slope, playing tennis. She is a powerhouse woman, and welcome, Renate.
Thank you, Kim. So glad to be here last minute.
Oh, you are so sweet. Last night hey, and just so you guys know, it's important that you come and join Coffee with Kim on Facebook because I put in there last night, hey, I've got a sick guest, who wants to jump in and help me? And Renate, she literally came to the rescue. Thank you so much. So I want you guys to hear a little bit of her story because I just recently learned more and more of her story. So go ahead.
Well, as you mentioned, I was born in Austria, and I grew up with being told all the things I could not do, all the things which were not for me. So I was kind of a mission to prove to myself, to others first, and to myself, what's possible when you have the right mindset. And eventually, I moved to Vienna from this little town in Austria, and then I moved to Singapore, and I've been residing here for over 25 years. And I'm a coach. I used to be a traditional teacher, professor at a commercial college, but now I teach people to take better care of themselves and reach really high levels of performance in any area of their life, because I think we all have the superpower to do this. And so I'm really honored to be here today to speak about self-care.
Oh my goodness, Renate. I start looking at all your pictures because I'll have to admit I was grabbing pictures as fast as I could, right? And I'm looking at these great mentors you've been with. And these are people that have mentored me, not side by side like you. And to look at where you've lived all over the world and the things that you've accomplished. And I saw that picture, that little cute little girl picture of you. And I thought, I bet you anything that little girl never thought she would be the woman she is today.
Yes, you are absolutely right. And it took me many, many years. And then when I finally figured out that it's important also to have mentors to help you grow. Um, so it has been an incredible journey. As I
Yeah,
said,
so everyone, I'm going to redo her sizzle reel. And we talked, because I saw this picture of her skiing on the slopes. Where was that?
this was actually in the US. It was after my first hip surgery. I had two, so I'm very bionic. And um, this was in the US, and usually I go there every single year. And for me, skiing is also part of self-care because it brings me joy. And I also love it because you're out in the open. And I always tell my clients also, if you want to get to take care of yourself, you have to get out as well. outdoors. You have to move your whole body, and being on the slopes is for me is amazing because you move your body and you take care of your mind as well, your brain as well. So it's a whole experience. That's why I'm so passionate about it. And this was
Oh,
the first, was really testing my hips. So I was very, very slow and kind of like, don't do anything crazy because again, sometimes we get excited and we do kind of crazy things. But normally, I must say, normally I ski off piste. Normally I ski in crazy parts of the world, getting out of a helicopter and skiing down. But this was just like, I look more like a beginner, but like take it easy and just test, just see how it goes. And I guess there's also something we have to learn because very often we're so excited, right? And then we completely forget to make some wiser decisions.
yeah, but I mean, you just said helicopter. I remember
Yes.
growing up because I grew up in the Northwest, and so Mount Hood was there. I only went one time. I got frostbite on my feet,
Oh boy.
and and then I didn't go for many years. And my husband's like that. He would like when we first met, he was like skiing in his shorts, right? But the helicopter thing, those are the things that I thought like daredevil. So you really are a daredevil.
Yeah, it's like the female James Bond. But no, we do not jump out of the planes. The plane, where the helicopter goes down, it probably hovers there, and you have to kind of jump out, but not with your skis on. It's not like in the movies.
Oh my goodness. One of the things that I really love about you too, and I love that, we've connected, as friends, is you get on Facebook Lives and you have this beautiful, soothing spirit and voice and way about you. And you give such wisdom, right? You just give from your heart and you give such wisdom. And you and I, the first time I ever met you, we were literally on a Joel Bauer live together. And I thought, I was so scared, I thought I was going to throw up. And here I had this seasoned, speaker beside me. But, years ago in my 20s, I was a speaker on big, big stages. But it had been so many years. And I think now, doing this has just gotten me out of my way. But I wanted them to get to know a little bit about you, but I want to kind of have us start getting into this self care. And I used to think self care was going to a massage, getting my nails done, getting my hair done. And the older I've gotten, I wish I had had more information and more guidance and more mentors that really kind of gave a different perspective on it. And you and I've talked about that. I want you to kind of talk a little bit about that.
I agree with you that lots of people think self-care is have things done, like have the nail done, have a massage, have the hair done. I personally think that self-care has to do with self-responsibility. And it's not always easy, but I guess it starts with setting boundaries and the ability to be able to say no. And I know you have a family with kids. I don't have kids. I only have only have godchildren all over the world. It's different, but it really has to start with that you decide that you are a priority. And what I found out over the years is, especially with women, we think we are everything, everyone else is more important. Everybody else is more important. Everything else is more important, right? And self-care is kind of a back burner. But it
Mhm.
really starts with being aware that it's your responsibility to take care of yourself and that it's okay. And it's okay to say no. Because if you are in bad shape, right? If you're completely worn out, if you have no energy, if you don't love yourself, how can you give it, right? We all
Oh,
know we
yeah.
can only give what we have, right? If
We can
we
only
have
get
no
what we have.
energy, how can we give energy?
And I did that. You talk about, having children. I think it's if whether you have children or not children, it's across the board. But I know personally, my experience in having the six children, I gave everything. I mean, I literally was running on empty most of the
Mhm.
time. And I never recognized it until my health crisis hit about 12 years ago. And the doctor said, put your life, you
Mhm.
probably won't last the year unless you make some significant changes. And
Mhm.
it wasn't, oh, it wasn't, just a second, we got some people commenting. But it wasn't until that happened and I started taking care of my body. But during that time, it was several years after that that I realized I needed to take care of this and my
Mhm.
heart,
Mhm.
quite, and my spirit. And those are the things that impacted me the most. And that's kind of been my journey probably for the last 7 years, 6, 7 years on that piece of
Mhm.
it.
But Kim, isn't it interesting that people finally take responsibility and take care of themselves when it's nearly too late, when it's 5 to 12, right? It's the same
Yep.
in business. Successful business people, they are in not just, mothers or fathers taking care of the family. In business, people run, run, run. And I hear all the time, yeah, Renate, you don't understand. It's the business. But once they suffer the stroke, once they nearly die, once they need the stents, etc., then people are much more willing to shift their mindset to be open to like, all right, probably it's a good idea to take care of myself because then I can level up and better perform in other areas again, right?
Oh,
So,
absolutely, absolutely. That is probably it. And for me, you and I have very three similar words, mindset, mission, and moves. And mine, I even kind of tweaked it a little bit, Renate. I tweaked it to mind shift
yes.
because because for me, and for my clients and my customers, because I have several different companies, there has to be a mind shift. And for me, I don't, this is my personal philosophy, and it may not be everybody's, but your business is only going to be as good as what you are.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Absolutely. And I love the mind shift thing. I don't know whether I heard it from you before or I came across it just a few days ago. And I thought that makes sense because mindset is kind of static. It's like I
Yes,
set my mind to it and I want to do it. And there is not enough momentum. But we're talking about shifts, right? To
shift is
change
movement.
from a closed mindset or mind for closed mind to a more open mind. You have to shift it, right?
Yes.
And so that's why I'm very um, uh, passionate about exploring with my clients how they can shift whilst doing business, because in business it gets like people are so focused on just one thing that they forget all the other things. And it's people are all busy, we know that, right? And it's always like, well, I don't have the time. But it's the tiny little things. It has to be something which you can add day by day, right? You don't have to change your whole life immediately because it has to be sustainable. I think
Yes.
all the shifts you make, they have to be doable, they have to be in a more holistic, integrated way, and they have to be sustainable.
Yeah, well, I do a little tip of the week, and a couple weeks ago, I discovered that it didn't go because I didn't do a live. I just did a recording, and then I tried to redo it on Friday a couple different times. But one of the things that I thought was the most powerful for me when I was trying to really make that shift in my mind, shift in my habits, shift in what I wanted to do was alarms. I set alarms just to have, because sometimes I'm a driver personality. I'm like you, I'm very passionate, and
Mm-hmm.
I kind of get those blinders on, and I'm like, go, right? And the time goes away, and everything goes away, and I've had to have those little wake ups, right? Because for me, my wake up calls, I had two major ones. Actually, I would probably say a third one, right? I ended up in the hospital a few weeks ago. And to me, that's when I reached out to you. I'm like, okay, I've got to eat differently. I've got to move again differently. And so I've really been watching you.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it's so
so
easy, right? I start right before I get out of bed. Just some small moves whilst you're still in bed, just to activate your spine, to activate your central nervous system. It's just gentle, it's Feldenkrais based, just simple leg tilts, some simple tilting of the pelvis, elongating the spine, very, very simple. I do this, and then, just when people get out of bed, instead having, I don't know what kind of drink, just have some warm water, not hot, some warm water, cup of warm water with a little bit of fresh lime or lemon in it. It cleanses everything. And this is that's how a day starts, with self-care. And it takes like less than 5 minutes if you're slow. And I guess everyone has 5 minutes to be in better health, to be in better shape going forward.
So tell me about a person in one of your customers or clients that you've worked with that you saw a significant difference with.
Well, Helmut, for example, he's now in his 70s, and he was the mega successful business person. And and he didn't take care of himself, right? And so he suffered a tricky word for a non-English speaker, a stem cell stroke. And he was told he would be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. And we started to because normally people think when something like this happens, or when people are kind of injured, you have to do physical activities. But the mind shift and the mission, why it's so important for them to do what they have to do, is most of the time overlooked. So we did tiny little movements. We did tiny little movements in the imagination, and we did a lot of work on the mindset. Why is it important to go through all those sequences? Why is it important to have to switch your language? This is also about self-care, because if we talk to ourselves like, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, oh, he's much better, oh, I used to be able to do this years ago, all this chatter is what the brain hears all the time, right?
Yes.
And I like to talk about the brain being the captain of the ship, right? So everything else, that's the crew. So, and if the captain says, wow, that's not possible, it's the signal to everything in your body, your mind, your brain, that it isn't possible, right? So by just shifting language pattern, reframing things, makes a change. It changes not just the thinking, it changes the movement as well. So we did lots of this, and now he's not in a wheelchair. He's now 77. He plays tennis. He plays golf, and he's fully functioning. So you really have, in my opinion, you have to see the person as a whole, and you have to address the body, the brain, and the mind when we talk about self-care, when we talk about improvement, when we talk about functioning at a very high level.
Yeah, so you said, it's funny because you're talking about the thinking part, right? But our thoughts are what create the emotion, right? I think our heart and our mind are so connected. And like you said, that how we talk to ourselves, what are we saying? I had my daughters for a while, because two of them still live with me. And I said, if I'm saying anything, I'm having you be my accountability partners. If I'm saying anything that is not uplifting, something that's going to make me feel better, or, talk, good self-talk, let me know. And they catch me, and now I catch myself, right? And so it's about who you have around you too, right? And those accountability to making those things happen. You are also an amazing, healthy cook too. And so you guys definitely do want to follow her, because she has these amazing recipes. All of us keep asking her, okay, how do you make that? How do you do that? Don't we?
Well, I'm being creative, so I'm not a chef, no, I'm a doctor or something like this, but I like to learn from the best, and I like to learn from performers. So some of the recipes I got from Health Results, the top Health Results, the chefs there in the world, and some of them from the team of long ago from the Austrian national ski team. So I like to get information from people who have a similar mindset. They want to perform, right? No matter whether they are male or female, or whether they're young or old, or whether they are Caucasian or whatever. So yeah, and it's not about count. When you say I'm a chef or a cook, people think, Renate, you think calories and stuff like this. I'm not talking calories. We know, I mean, we have to burn more calories than the intake. We know that, but it's really about what supports your well-being and what kind of food is counterproductive. So it's guidelines. It has to be, again, I repeat myself, it has to be doable and it has to be sustainable, right? It has to be part of a healthy lifestyle routine, because this is self-care, isn't it? It's about lifestyle, and this
Absolutely.
translates into your personal life, it translates into your business life, and how you communicate with other people.
You just said something that just triggered something else. The business and the personal, right? People kept saying, "Well, you have to separate your business from life from your personal life." It doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. And it all blends and it all feeds. I do want to take a couple of minutes because I love it when people interact and they're watching us. And so I'm going to show some of the comments we're getting. Jim, is it coffee time already? Yes, and it's tea and lemon water or
Just
whatever.
regular water.
Water, yep. And most of the time people ask me, right, do you always have to drink coffee? No, a lot of time I'm drinking water, but the coffee with Kim is just, I'm going to reiterate again, is going out and getting to know someone, right? Would you like to go to coffee? I didn't always drink coffee. I would drink water or, some other thing. Good morning, Renate. We got our sweet friend, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Alkalize to energize.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yep. And Judy, hi, lady. Oh, so good to see you, Judy. She's got a new show too.
Yeah, they drink cocktails, right?
Yes, they do. And you know what? There is nothing that says you can't have in your coffee come a little bit of wine too. We might.
Absolutely.
All right.
But speaking, sorry, go ahead.
It says have us first before we can take care of our loved ones. 100%. 100%, Judy. Yeah. So.
Kim, you mentioned the water, right? I mean, I love to drink coffee. I like to drink my small espressos or ristrettos, but I love to drink water because I'm very active. I live in the tropics, right? You perspire a lot, so you have to have water. Also, people who live in high altitude where the air is much drier, people have to drink more. And as I said earlier, I don't count calories. I do not count glasses, how many glasses of water I drink usually. And some people might think, Renate, that's so gross. But it's like, you just look at the color of your urine. When it's clear, it's fine most of the time, right? So this is an indicator. So it has to be, for me, everything has to be simple, right? Don't overcomplicate things.
Yeah, no, and I love that.
Of water. I'm like, what are 16 glasses of water? Too crazy, too much stress.
Yes.
You're talking self-care.
So Renate, how can people get in touch with you? How can they work with you? How do you work with your clients? And where can we send them?
Yeah, you can send them to my email, rprandl06@gmail.com. And for your people watching your show here, I will accept 5 if they qualify to have a private success activation call with me. We can talk about self-care, about the physical and mental, whatever aspect they like to. And just send me the email to rprandl, Prprandl @06@gmail.com. Subject line, I would say Coffee with Kim. Okay. And about 30-minute free call to get them on their way.
How would they apply? I mean, how would they qualify?
They just send me this email, coffee with subject line, Coffee with Kim, and maybe in 1 or 2 sentences, why or what's holding them back, what's their biggest obstacle, because I think sometimes it's an obstacle which is easy to turn into a stepping stone. And as you said earlier, we all need a team. We all need somebody to, well, a different pair of eyes, I would say, like a mentor, somebody who sees things differently to get us moving in the direction we want to go.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for that beautiful gift. Everyone, I would really recommend, you reaching out to her. As always, coffeewithkim.com, with the K, just like you see on my, underneath my picture here. That there you will have, it's growing, several different pages now, but the gift page is where you will find my guests, their gifts, and all of their contact information. Um, we want to continue throughout this time to celebrate them. Renate, thank you again. Is there any last words you want to talk about with self-care? Because we talked about the mind, we talked about the body, how we talk. What is anything else that before we take off today?
Yeah, I would love to share with you one little exercise, which is easy to do even during the day. And I will tie it in with a habit you already have when you said you have your alarms. So basically, I want you, all of you listening here or watching here, think of 3 words describing your very best self, something positive, right? For me, it's inspiring. So what are 3 words that really, if somebody talked about you, let's say, well, Kim is like this. So you would be really proud if people talked about you in this way. So three words, and I call them the 3 power words. And I want you to either write them on sticky notes and put them somewhere where you have to see them, or maybe on your desk, or look at them before you get into a, maybe a tough conversation. And what I like to do is I use my phone and I put those 3 power words. I have them at 9 a.m. every morning in my phone as an alarm. So put them in your alarm. This is a high performance habits. And even Oprah and Usher, they all have the same in their phones. I don't know what time, but they're power words. And like I have my 3 words, they pop up as an alarm at 9 a.m. to remind me who I am when I start my day working with my clients, going out there. That's how I want to show up, no matter what happens, because it's also protecting me, right? I
Yes.
step into my power. So this is something
Oh,
anyone can do. And then, of course, you can add tapping with those 3 words. So we can maybe have another session where we do more activity.
yes,
Um, I like to be hands-on because we can talk about it. But if you don't do it, nothing will change, right? You can have the best
absolutely.
intention.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Everyone, I hope you see the value of Renate and what she's given us many gifts today. And then the gift to contact her and get a consult with her. She is in Singapore. I love the fact that I have beautiful, beautiful friends all over the world. And again, thank you so much, Renate, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I hope it was not
absolutely.
too much hot
You
mess the
saved
last minute.
you saved me last minute. But the show does go on. If there was nobody, they would just be hearing from me. And that's not so bad, but everyone, thank you for showing up today. I am just so grateful that you're here and you take the time, and even if you aren't here live, that you get the opportunity to listen.